Russia's not interested in peace. Ukraine is, EU is. Nobody wants more peace than Ukraine and EU. And the second point is that we welcome any pressure, and in particular US pressure on Russia to accept a ceasefire through any means necessary.
Is the European Union considering to join sanctions of the United States to introduce the same sanctions, for example?
Look, I think we have 18 sanction packages. The 18 sanction package will enter into force within a couple of days, maybe towards the end of the week, if I'm not mistaken. So we are at the forefront and fully focused and completely implementing the various sanction packages that we have adopted so far.
Tatiana Vysotska, Ukraine. I've got a question about the deadline which President of the United States, Donald Trump, introduced for President of Russia, Putin. If Putin will not say yes to the ceasefire in Ukraine and on 8th of August, Trump will introduce some sanctions. What the European Union expects of the United States to introduce on Friday or later? Do you have any clear expectations or provisions what it may be? And is the European Union in contact with the administration of the United States? I guess yes. What are you discussing? Maybe some joint sanctions, or maybe the United States may join the initiative of dynamic price cap. Anything is interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Many questions, but I'll be brief and simple. 2 points on this. Russia is not interested in peace. Ukraine is, EU is. Nobody wants more peace than Ukraine and EU. And the second point is that we welcome any pressure, and in particular US pressure on Russia to accept a ceasefire through any means necessary.
And of course, we are always in contact with our international partners on the various aspects. As you know, we are not in the position of commenting on future possible actions that we might be taken, but we are in coordination with all our international partners, including, of course, the US. You have a follow-up.
Yes. Is the European Union considering to join sanctions of the United States to introduce the same sanctions, for example?
Look, I think we have 18 sanction packages. The 18 sanction package will enter into force within a couple of days, maybe towards the end of the week, if I'm not mistaken. So we are at the forefront and fully focused and completely implementing the various sanction packages that we have adopted so far. And of course, as you know super well, sanctions is something that you constantly need to update, to work on, because there is sanctions circumvention. So we need to find new ways to implement the sanctions that we have adopted, and it's part of the natural process. And of course, we are continuing to work on future sanctions to possibly put even more pressure on Russia. And this is an activity we carry out internally, constantly with our member states. And of course, we are also in dialogue with our international partners on how we can join forces and even be more effective. Now, on what will be proposed by international partners and whether we would join it or not, I think it's a premature discussion. What is clear is that the intention from our side of increasing constantly our pressure on Russia is always there, through sanctions and through by all other means we have at our disposal. Other questions relating to Ukraine or Russia, sorry, foreign affairs angle. Yeah, go ahead.
It's on sanctions. I'm not sure that it's for Anita, so.
It is not. Let me just check 1 second if there's other questions for Anita. Otherwise, I will give you the floor. Other questions for Anita on foreign affairs? Not the case. Thank you. So I will be happy to take your question on sanctions.
Valeria Pashko, public broadcaster of Ukraine. Can you confirm media reports that the EU plans sanctions on China over covert drone Indian shipments to Russia, and about the India too. Today, the Zelensky chief of staff stated that Ukraine found Indian components in Russian strike drones used on the front against civilians. Maybe the EU is working on sanctions against India too, given these new statements. Thanks.
Thanks. This is really pure speculations, and we are not in a position of comment on pure speculations. You know very well that we don't announce anything on possible future packages here. We're completely at the speculation level, so we're definitely not going to comment on that. Of course, in general terms, with all our international partners, we make clear in each and every contact that the European Union's view is that Russia should not be put in a position of continuing to carry out the atrocities it's carrying out in Ukraine, and that Russia's war machine should be put at strain and should not be supported further. So towards our international partners, we have always been very clear that our view is that certain goods and deliveries should not be allowed into Russia. This is a general statement on our policy, but as I said, on the sanctions specifically, it's completely speculation. I had forgotten that we have questions online. You can see that I am back from a couple of weeks of holiday. So I will actually take the questions online, presuming they are for Anita. Otherwise, please unraise your hand. Let's start with Momchil, and then I'll go to Fatlum.
Thank you. Last week, it became clear that at least 3 Russian sanctions by the EU, including Valentina Matvienko, who is the Speaker of the Council of the Federation, flew to Switzerland for taking part in an international conference. Well, Switzerland admitted that he had granted them an access for taking part in this conference, but they flew through the Italian airspace. It means they flew through the airspace of the European Union despite being sanctioned. Is the Commission aware of that? And would it take some measures?
Thank you. On this, the person you mentioned is listed under EU sanctions indeed. When it comes to the implementation, this is also for the member states. There are certain exceptions to this, but this would be for any further questions. We'll refer you to the member state.
Momchil, you have a follow-up.
So does it mean that they had the right to fly through the Italian airspace? Did they get an access?
Not for us to say.
Momchil, look, we have a sanction regime in place, and this person is on the sanction list. It is for the member state to implement the sanctions. We cannot comment in this specific case because we're not aware. It is for the Italian authorities to confirm whether they have granted an exception for some reason or not. There are exceptions possible. But we're not in a position of commenting in this specific case, as it was a decision of the Italian authorities. So the question you are asking should be best addressed to them.